Linear functions are no different than linear equations. I keep saying that over and over, but I feel like until you grasp that, this will feel very, very, very uncomfortable. Okay? So I wrote the two equations side by side, just to kind of give you a reminder, a visual reminder, that linear functions look like this. And all they're saying is y equals mx plus b, just like what we learned here. We learned that in lesson 3.1 through 3.4. Now, that being said, just to quickly break it down for you, f of x is the output. It's the output of whatever these numbers do to what you put in here. Okay? So, using old terminology, this is the x value, and that is the y value. Now, there are several different scenarios that they give you in example 1. They give you how slope works and how y-intercept works. And I want to go over that with you a little bit. Okay. Oh wait, this is yesterday's lesson. Wait! This is the worksheet. This is the worksheet. Sorry, I was redoing yesterday's lesson. So some scenarios I wanted to share with you. I wanted to remind you that y equals mx plus b, the same way that you're used to seeing it. Now, skip over the section where they have examples. You can look at that later when you're at home. Okay? Let's look at number 1. This is all the way down in the page. Number 1 says, if m is 4 and b is 1, what is the equation? Okay? This is the worksheet you guys have. Okay? If m is 4 and b is 1, what is the equation? Well, simply plug in the values that they gave you, and you have your equation. It's as simple as that. Okay? So when you are given m equals something and b equals something, you simply plug in the values. Okay? And that's what you're going to do for number 2. Okay? That's all you do. Moving on. Number 3. Number 3, you are given that the slope is -3, right? You guys see that on your worksheet? And then I write the equation over and over. That's just how I do it. The slope is -3. They also give you a pair of points. They give you 0 and 1. Well, f of 0 is 1. This is your input. That is the result. Okay? If the f value is 0, thinking in terms of a coordinate plane, and the y value is 1, that means your y-intercept is 1. The y-intercept is also known as b, okay, in the y equals mx plus b formula, in the f of x equals mx plus b formula. Okay, so I now know that I can insert my slope here, and I can insert my intercept here, just like we did in lesson 3.1 through 3.4. Your result is f of x is -3x plus 1. 1 being the b value. I know that because the x value is 0. And -3 being the m value, because they straight up told me that. Okay? This is number 3. The same exact scenario is number 4. Number 4 has a f of 0 at 3. So, duh, what do you think the y-intercept is for number 4? 3, which will be your b value. Okay? That's number 3. Basically, I've just given you number 4 as well. Number 5 is where it starts to feel a little tricky, but I promise you, you've already done all this. Okay? This is just using slightly different verbs, slightly different terminology. Okay, they give you a couple of scenarios. They first tell you f of 0 is -2. Well, just like number 3 and 4, that means your b value is 2. Okay? And then they tell you in their little sentence, the f of x, which is the output, increases by 12 when the input increases by 3. That is your slope. Change in output, which is change in y, over change in x, which is the input, reduces to 4, which means 4 is your slope. You now have your m value, okay? Simply by analyzing how they explain that change to you, okay? Plug in. 4 is your slope. -2 is your y-intercept. That's 5. Okay? 6 is the exact same thing. Okay? Moving on to number 7. Number 7. The slope is 6. Okay, I've got one gimme. And I've got the f value at 1 is 5. So I don't have a y-intercept. Okay? This situation forces us to plug in points. Okay? Using the f1 at 5 and the slope at 6, we solve for b. Okay? M is 6. Input is 1. Output is 5. And b is b. 5 equals 6 plus b. So there's your b value. We just solved for it. Your b value is -1. So now I have my b value. The f of x is 6x minus 1. Okay? I had my slope. I had a pair of points. I solved for b, created my equation. Okay? 9. So 8 is exactly the same. 9. 9. They give you only a pair of points. Okay? They don't give you a clear slope. They don't give you a y-intercept because they didn't give you a pair of points that include 0 as x. They only give you a pair of points. So here's your process. This is what you need to do to uncrack this egg. To crack this egg? Yeah. First, you're going to find the change, which is the slope. Okay? So here I am solving for the slope. I went uphill because I just prefer working with numbers like that are bigger before the smaller. I don't know. A -6 minus 3 is a -9. That's my change in output, f of x. I always go back to calling it y, but as long as you know that f of x is y, you're good. Okay? -2 minus 1. There's -2 minus 1. That's a -3. After solving, I now have my slope, m equals 3. Okay? Step 2, plug in a pair of points and solve for b. Okay? I would choose whichever ones you think are easier to work with. I chose 1 and 3. Okay? They're smaller. I'm not very smart. Choose something small. Okay? So y equals m x plus b. 3 equals 3 plus b. 0 equals b, which means the value for b is 0. So all you have to do is f of x equals 3x. In the olden days, we wrote it as y equals 3x. Okay, there is no y-intercept. Okay, the point where the line would cross the y is at 0, 0. Okay. Number 10, is exactly the same. They give you a pair of points. So your first step for number 10 will be to find the change, which is the slope. Doing it however you prefer, subtracting in the same order. Once you have your 2 points, plug them in, solve for b. Once you have b, write your equation in f of x equals mx plus b form. Okay, that's number 9. Number 10 is the same. Number 11. 11 is also the same. It has points. Okay, so we're going to practice that same technique. Step 1 was first find the change. I went downhill this time because I like subtracting 5 from 3 and 4, or subtracting that way. Okay, a negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8. 4 minus a negative is a positive 7. Now my first thought when I was preparing for this is, uh-oh, did I make a mistake? Because that's ugly. Okay, don't assume that you made a mistake because some equations are ugly. All right? So negative 8/7 is my m value, right? Because we know that slope is m. Everybody with me right now? Okay? Step 2. Plug in some points. Now I didn't rewrite the words so much here, but it's the same steps as what we did in 9. We first found the slope and then we plug in some points. I chose to plug in the top column's points. Output equals m x, which is that, plus b. Look at how ugly that is. 5 over 1 equals negative 32/7 plus b. Okay? Subtract 32 over 7 from 5 over 1. Remember, you have to have the same denominator in order to subtract. So I converted negative 5 over 1 by multiplying it by 7/7, creating negative 35 over 7. Okay, I'm sorry, I added. Okay? Added here and here. Resulting in b equals the sum of negative 35 and positive 32, which is negative 3/7. The ugly equation is f of x equals negative 8/7 x minus 3/7. Okay? This is the same thing as what we did in 9. Find change, plug in points. It's just an ugly answer, which causes you to not want to trust it. Okay? The way you could verify if you did do it right, folks, would be to take this that you came up with and plug in whichever pair of points you like for here and here and make sure it's equal. Okay, you can do that, but I already know it's correct. I have the answer key. The last one is a word problem. Okay? The last one is a word problem. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about what they've shared with us. Number 13 says, an electrician charged $90 for a 2-hour job and $140 for a 4-hour job. At that rate, how much would be charged for an 8-hour job? Okay, so I first took this and I said, all right, let's chart this out. I charted it very simply. If I work 2 hours, it costs $90. If he works 4 hours, it costs $140. Okay, so these are kind of like the points that you would input. Okay, and remembering that the output is related to mx plus b, I created a scenario that looks like this. 90 equals slope times 2 plus b. 140 equals slope times 4 plus b. But I don't know what my slope is. I don't really know anything. I don't know change. Or do I? Can I find change? Of course I can. I can find out what the change is simply by subtracting 140 by 90, which is 50, and 4 from 2. which is 2. So I now have a slope. This has become just like the other ones.